be flexible, I guess. Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting of the Upson Historical Society is now called to order. Are you ready?
Go.
Right. On behalf of the society, we wish to welcome everyone to our meeting and program. At this time, we would normally recognize our visitors and have you stand and say something, but we're looking at the multitude. If you're a visitor, just raise your hand. Please be sure that you signed up at the back, and I want to extend an invitation to you to join our society, get the newsletter, and participate in our activities. At this time, where's Martha Clayton? Martha Clayton has got just something to say to you.
I'm going to be really, really quick. Y'all can see that for a second, right? Yeah. And many of you know that I've been very concerned the past year about the future of the Ritz Theater, and have been involved with the group Upson County Concerned Citizens, which is raising funds to get a digital projector for the Ritz. Someone we mostly don't know, a painter named Valerie Berry, who lives in Colorado, is the mother of our wonderful archives director, Penny Cliff. And she is so fond of Thomaston, and in particular of the Ritz, that she got Penny to send her historical references and did this wonderful original watercolor painting of the Ritz as it would have looked in 1939 when Gone with the Wind was playing. And she sent it to us to use for a fundraiser. She did the painting on her own time. She had it framed. She shipped it here and gave it to us, and also generously gave us permission to have it reproduced. So we are conducting a crazy thing called a sealed bid silent auction for the painting itself, which will be completed on Friday, February the 8th. And if you want to meet with me and find out more about how to enter a bid in that auction, or just a chance to see the painting before it goes into private hands, then catch me at the back table after the meeting, or come to the archives this week. The painting will be on display in the archives, and you can look at it quietly as much as you like. We're selling prints. Full-size prints of the painting are $30 each, and postcard size 4x6s are $3 each, and we will continue selling those as long as we can. We have them at TUAC, the Thomaston Pharmacy, and Rescue Me, and when the Ritz Cafe reopens either this Thursday or next, they'll also be at the Ritz Cafe. So thank you. Please take a chance to look at this beautiful painting. In 10 days it goes into private hands, and you may not get to see it anymore, so I'll have it at the back table after the meeting. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. At this time, normally, I've turned this over to Mr. Gary Self, the Vice President and Program Coordinator, but since he's not here, I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker for tonight. Now, some of the things that I know about Mr. McDonald, he might deny, so I'm not going to say too much, other than we have a couple of things in common in the background. He probably doesn't want this to open either. At one time in our careers, we both worked for the State Labor Department. We have some mutual acquaintances. The other thing, we both lived in Clayton County for a number of years before we retired and went to greener pastures. I guess we retired.
I was fired.
I wasn't indicted, so I'll let you. Well, with that said, I'll turn it over to Mr. McDonald.
Well, I've never had to run a foot race before I made a talk, but this is a new experience for me. So thank you all for having the stamina to change venues on it. I really had not planned to give this a theological slant, but as long as we're in the holy place here, and since we will be talking about time and maybe alcohol, I can just go ahead and say, I will quote Psalm 90 here, which said, Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations, before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting. For 1,000 years are in thy sight, or but as yesterday when we passed. I'll say that because the paper said we were going to start at 1 billion years ago, and I just have to point out that eternity stretches in both directions, from everlasting to everlasting. Another thing about, if we get around to talking about alcohol, we certainly don't want to forget that Abraham's first meeting with Melchizedek was he offered him bread and wine for his hospitality. So we at least have theological approval if we're going to talk about alcohol. And the funny thing about, I guess, alcohol is when Penny published in the Upson Historic Society Bulletin, she showed my picture, and she also showed a liquor stick. And nobody had asked me much about myself, but a lot of people said, are you really going to talk about liquor? So I guess I'm obligated to answer a lot of questions. What is the story behind that liquor stick? That's Gary Self coming in now. Whatever he was going to say, Joe, he got lost on the way over. But anyway, for those who do not know where the Cove was, it's 17 miles from where we stand. Go due west and you're bound to run into it. I have a picture of it here, and you can see that it's a circular ring of mountains, and it's sort of insulated from the surrounding countryside, and the people that have lived there actually have created their own community. It has never had a post office. It's not an incorporated city of any sort. It is just a geological oddity that had very good farming land in it, and it was settled early on. Now, Doug Head asked me to ask how many people are from the Cove that's in here. Uh-oh. Good. So, believe me, folks, how many of them are Browns or Gilberts? Hey, there you go. So, I'm among family here, people, and so let me get a swig of joy juice. It came from the Cove. But, running all the way over here. I want to start with the fact that, as they said 1 billion years ago, is Lewis Hales out there anywhere? He's supposed to be, because he's my geological coordinator. 1 billion years ago. Notice I said 1 billion. Got that? Send this one to the library. She's taking notes. Anyway, 1 billion years ago, all the continents on Earth were gathered together in one big wad, in one big supercontinent. Now, I know you're thinking Pangea at this time, but this was the Pangea before Pangea. It was called Rodinia. And all of those continents gathered together in one big muffin wad, you might say, build up heat underneath until they keep swelling up like a pound cake in the oven, and it gets so large that it ultimately splits off into 12 different continents. And when our different continent, when our split came, the Cove is Rachia. That's the Cove. And here's the way the continent split, created a rift. This is Africa on this side. Over here, this is North America. Africa then took a trip of about 270 million years going back east. When it split apart, there was a rift in the terrain, created a giant crack in the earth, you might say, and this crack was filled up full of granite. This is 20 miles wide and about 800 miles long. It's very important that we remember this because Africa took off drifting. This continent, don't forget, was called Rodinia. Africa was gone for about 500 million years before it made a return visit. Now, when it made the return visit, remember, it had left this 800-long block of granite lying out here just off the coast of America. And when that cycle was reversed, come back here a little, when that cycle was reversed, Africa came back. And that is when the continent of Tangier was formed. But when it came back, when it came back that second time, it hit this 800-mile-long slab of granite and turned it sideways and pushed it up with mountains as high as the Himalayas. So that looking at it from the side, we've got this. Anybody want to guess what that's called nowadays? The Blue Ridge Mountains. And so we have the Blue Ridge Mountains then. It's extending all the way, almost to the tip of the Cove. And when Africa came back, it brought the Cove with it and docked the Cove off here and created, as I said, the Blue Ridge Mountains. And on the backside of those mountains, I'm going to lose my stand, there were swamps growing all on this side of the other side of the mountain, and all of these swamps got covered over with dirt. All the debris that it pushed over into that swamp covered it up. So that is what created the coal fields of Virginia. The reason I tell that because my wife demanded that I do it, because that's where I found her, was somewhere up the holler in the coal mining region. So if we hadn't had the coal mines, that's where coal came from. This is where the Blue Ridge comes from. Down here on the tail end, we have the coal. Now, when America broke apart the second time, it broke in two. Let's go to another map. And as you can see, somewhere, can't tell. When Africa went home the next time, it didn't create such a trench then. It created another blob of granite. This blob of granite, as far as we're concerned, is Stone Mountain. The Cove sits over here, and this is Stone Mountain, but the surface of the earth at that time was 2 miles up. So the Cove, the Stone Mountain, was buried 2 miles underground. And over the next 200 million years, all of this has eroded away. And by the way, trying to draw, good gracious, what ugly dinosaur. This is ugly Saurus here, but the reason 65 million years ago, a giant meteorite crashed into the earth. It landed off around the Yucatan Peninsula, and it dug a gigantic hole and totally destroyed the atmosphere of the world. All the dinosaurs became, it didn't look like a dinosaur. all the dinosaurs bellied up at that point. And the reason